Hello, my name is Christian and welcome to this year's edition of Business Battlefield's Leaders Live, an interview series where we sit together with the leaders of our partners and talk about the subject and overarching theme, responsible leadership, and their take on how to deal with it properly. Today we're going to sit with the former marketing director of Royal Unibrew and now CCO of Rekom Group, Lars Mejlgaard. So, Lars, you are the CCO of the biggest nightlife concern in Northern Europe. How many people do you actually have under you on a daily basis? How many people have to answer to you?
Our structure is a little bit, not strange, but a little bit different from other companies that I've been in. So I have 4 direct reports, 4 department managers, and then I have a total of around 200 people working for those teams. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit about your personal leadership journey to this position you have right now?
Yeah. It started back in 2006, where I was appointed senior brand manager of Heineken, the Dutch beer, and on that occasion I was appointed 3 sales reps, on-trade sales reps, and that was my first real leadership experience. Yeah. And then from there on I've had various positions as marketing manager and marketing director, growing in responsibility and the leadership also, especially the leadership journey from where you have only direct reports to becoming leader for leaders, which is something quite different.
And was it deliberate that you stayed within this sort of area of work basis in the nightlife concern and alcohol and that?
I think you more or less said it yourself. I mean, nightlife and alcohol, it's just fun business, despite my age. It's an interesting industry, very much about dynamics and people's behavior and a lot of dynamics and competition. I like it a lot. Yeah,
of course. Interesting. What was a difficult decision you had to make as a leader, and how did that shape you as a person? How did you come through that?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that as a leader, you're recruited to take into consideration always the company's best interest, but still you're also a leader for people, for persons and human beings. So for me, I love working with people. So by far the most difficult being a leader for me is when I have to lay off people, especially in those circumstances where the competences between the person and the job at hand doesn't match. But the drive for the person is there that really want to do it, but are simply not able to due to various circumstances. That is the most difficult decision.
That brings me to ask you a question about the disagreements you might have as a team with the team members. How do you handle that?
First and foremost, those teams I have had responsibility for have all been, being constructed from various types of persons. I have never been, a leader for one stereotype of employees. It's always been really a mix of different competences and personalities. And there you need to take into considerations various leadership styles, because some really need for you to be the front runner and lead by example. Others really need to be listened to and also have the possibility to express their opinion. So a general rule for me is always listen and reflect and not always jump into, let's say, the trap being a leader. I think you always need to have all answers right away. Listen and reflect before you give your advice, and then ultimately, of course, make a decision on the team's best behalf.
Right. So more concrete, that would be your leadership style to be able to listen and to get everyone's opinion in, and then ultimately take the last decision when it's needed to.
Yeah, again, leadership style are many, and I think in general it's ingrained in you as a person how you are a leader. And I would say my style is more macro. I believe in empowerment and also delegation of responsibility to those, of course, capable of taking that responsibility. But I really believe in listening and reflecting, but also respecting that we are all just people and persons on our own journey and with our own view of life. Respecting people.
So Lars, can you describe a time when you had to lead by example, for instance?
Yeah, I would like to believe myself that there are many, but one of the most relevant one is, during the COVID-19 lockdown, especially for my industry, me, myself, and the rest of the exec team really had to lead by example. We have a total of 5,500 employees in all our countries combined, and during lockdown, with no revenue at all and a lot of cost, hence a lot of money going down the drain. We had a significant cash burn. We needed to make sure that people trusted in us and our ability to navigate the company through this crisis. I think that is one of the best examples of leading by example.
What did you specifically have to do together with your entire team to get through a crisis like COVID-19?
It was a lot about financing, of course, making sure that we had the sufficient cash to make it through the crisis. But for us also, where we as a company really we sell experience to people visiting our bars and nightclubs, and it is our employees who provide that experience. So we also decided to keep our people home on salary compensation, but was very focused on keeping them motivated. So we had a full program of online webinars, online morning training, quizzes, concerts even. So we tried to keep the culture in shape. We have a very strong culture in the company. And then of course, I think it was approximately once a month, we did an exec FAQ where people could ask us questions, all kinds of concerns, written an email before the meeting, and then we went online, the exec team, to all our employees and told them about the state of the nation basically, and where we were, and of course made sure to give us much confidence among people that we were able to navigate the company throughout the crisis. Yeah.
So the culture within Rekom is really important.
It is,
including all the employees.
Absolutely, that is our foundation.
Yeah.
That is our foundation, and also described very well we have some virtues in our company that we really live every day. But people, being our employees, are the most, the highest value asset we do have. They are providing the experience to our customers and guests.
Mm-hmm. And financially, you did a really great strategic move in buying a lot of bars in England or in the UK.
Yeah, true.
And that was an amazing opportunity for you guys. Tell us a bit about the move you made there and how that kind of evolved. Yeah,
I think it's actually describes very well what Rekom is for a kind of company. That we decided relatively fast during the crisis, when we knew, okay, this will take substantial amount of time. That we viewed it as a potential instead of a crisis. So whenever we spoke about opportunities and how we were to navigate through this, we saw it as a potential. Then of course also being partly owned by equity company, we had a sufficient financial foundation. So we were able to acquire both two groups actually in Norway, and a big one in the UK, and also a smaller one in Denmark, Jutland, during the crisis. So that was really potential for us. Those acquisitions have been very well made, and also we have, we are in the process still of integrating those new employees in the overall Rekom family. But yeah.
And that also brings me to the next question of concerning the fact that you were bought by a private equity company. How do you see that change the dynamic of the company, the nightlife concern that you are, and the decisions that you can make? Because of course, when you are a smaller company, the decisions are a bit quicker to make, but you're also quite limited to the financial structures. So when you get bought by a private equity company, how does that change the whole dynamic?
First and foremost, during that process, there were multiple companies who wanted to invest in Rekom. So the exec team actually also choose who were allowed to buy us. And Catacap, who owns half of Rekom, were chosen at that time because there was a great dynamic between their team and our team, and has only ever since proved to be the best possible match, since they have allowed us to operate with the saying, okay, we have the best knowledge of operating a nightlife company, but they provided us with structure and of course task concerned processes and new systems, and it's been a fantastic balance them respecting us in terms of the daily operation, but also providing us with some great initiatives and a task for scaling us for a future growth, basically. Systemizing those things that can be systemized, and implementing those processes that is required when you are in a company in growth as we are. So you don't have to run so fast all the time.
Great. I mean, that's a really
then of
cool
course,
move.
needless to say, also with the financial situation, they also have helped us out big time during the crisis, providing additional funds.
Of course. Now let me ask you, what does it mean to you to be a responsible leader? Exactly. Now that this is our overall theme for Business Battlefield, can you tell us a bit about the specifics of being a responsible leader?
Again, I think there are two, at least for me, two major things. That is, you always put in the seat as a leader to maintain the best interests of the company, but you're also leading people. And you really have to respect people's differences, but also their individuality and time. So for me, being a responsible leader is when you balance the best interest of the company and the best interest of your employees, making them grow, making them happy to go to work in the morning. I mean, if you're not happy to go to work in the morning, then at least personally I will find myself another job. And that is your responsibility as a leader, always motivating and make sure that people also have personal growth in their positions.
And Lars, what is the biggest mistake you as a leader have made, and how has that shaped you onwards?
Well, as a leader, you must always remember that you're still just an imperfect human being, as we all are. And especially in the first year of me being a leader, I made some mistakes where I was not totally aligned with the best interest of the company versus my, let's call it, love for people. So perhaps I gave some people too long a lead time before actually executing a replacement. But that being said, I think this is a normal process also for young leaders. And also one thing I would like to elaborate a little bit upon, that it's not just a matter of reading a management book and say, okay, this is the formula of becoming a leader. A lot of it comes also as you grow and just mature with age. And also mature with all those different obstacles that you encounter, not only as a leader, but an employee in general.
Moving on to then what you would advise other young people aspiring to become a leader, what would you tell them to do?
First and foremost, I think it's important that you get a little bit in touch with your own values as a person, whether you really love working with people. I think you unfortunately have seen some examples of people thriving for some steps on their career ladder, and hey, I need to become a leader. But if you're not really ingrained, loving working with people, then it can't be an obstacle. That's one thing. Trust your gut and your instincts. Also, as I pointed out earlier, listen and reflect. People need to be heard and respected. And also enjoy the process. I think at least young aspiring leaders, your age, Christian, and just finalized out of school, can sometimes be a little bit ambitious. I need to reach a certain goal in only 1 year, 2 years. Sometimes it's a matter of enjoying the process in the moment you're in, and also trusting in it that it's a learning process and something can't be forced. And enjoy it. And
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Lars. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.